Hello, Jen Sprague, your Transformational Wellness Coach here. Today, talking about something that maybe we take for granted every moment of the day, our breath. That's right, our breath. So, if you were like I was experiencing anxiety and stress, overwhelm all day, every day when I was at work in my previous career, not really realizing that that's what was happening until I had these health things occur. And then I was trying to figure out how to become well again and less stressed. Well, breathing is a free way to do that. So let's practice and let's learn. I'm going to share with you some of the benefits of why we do it and a little bit of how it works, how it does change our physiology, and then we'll practice it. And then you'll be on your way. So, benefits. Today, just introducing us to Durga Breath or Durga Pranayama, which is a yoga practice. But if you can imagine, those yogis spent 5,000 years figuring this stuff out. And now our science is finally validating it. And if you're curious about the science, I pulled this off my shelf because I loved going on this journey with James Nestor, Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art. Sometimes the book is yellow, so it might look yellow, it might not look like this. But oh my gosh, he goes through all the research that he did in his own journey back to wellness and his breathing patterns. But it just validated in me the value of breath and how it brought some vitality back into my life and the life of all my clients, because we start with breathing because it's something we can do and it's easy. So Durga breath. Durga means long, and pranayama, just prana, life force, and yama is like to extend. So using our life force or our breath consciously, we're going to have long breaths. We're going to use our full respiratory tract. Sometimes Durga breath is referred to as complete breath or three-part breathing. And why? It's kind of the breath that I start with. It's mentioned in the book. It talks about the correct way to breathe. It doesn't actually refer to it as Durga breath, but it talks about three-part breathing or complete breathing. And there's lots of health benefits. So just to like get us motivated to hang in there and learn this practice, increasing focus and concentration, which for somebody who is overwhelmed all the time, I was completely diverting my attention every, a few seconds, it seemed like. So increasing focus and concentration, relaxing your nervous system, helping to regulate your nervous system so you can be more resilient. Obviously reducing stress and anxiety. It even can help with insomnia if you're having trouble sleeping. For certain, breath is affected and can help you find good sleep. Building that stamina, also resilience in your body. The immune system is benefiting and being improved. And it also helps with respiratory problems, just kind of easing them, especially when we're in seasons of transition, spring and fall, allergy seasons. This type of breath or breathing in general, we can learn practices that help relieve some of those ailments. So there's the benefits, guys. Let's look briefly at why it actually does affect your physiology. So I used to teach science, so I totally geek out about all the science stuff. But we have a vagus nerve. You may have heard of the vagus nerve. It's a kingpin in this cycle of stress and relaxation in our autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is part that we don't consciously have control over, but we do have control over our breath. And that's why breath is kind of the doorway between conscious states and just being pushed along by life unconsciously. So the vagus nerve, which is one of the triggers that allow us to go into fight or flight stress, that's the sympathetic nervous system, stress, anxiety, but also mobilizing our resources to fight or actually survive. And then the parasympathetic nervous system, which is peace, rest, digest, heal. So the vagus nerve is one of the switches that turns those two systems on and off, basically transitioning between one and the other. And so normal life, we would have just short moments of stress and anxiety, and then we have mostly calm, alert state. So breathing helps us get to that calm, alert state more often than not. So we're going to be stimulating that vagus nerve because it follows the breathing path. And in Durga breath, we're going to use the full respiratory tract. So we're going to get full benefits. So your vagus nerve comes out of that second vertebrae, goes down. There's a bundle of nerves here called a plexus, and that's controlling digestion and all sorts of organs here in the abdomen. And then that vagus nerve continues down. There's another plexus lower in your abdominal cavity. So the breath, the full breath, is going to stimulate that whole path. And when it is at a rate that is slow and deep, guess what state your vagus nerve thinks you're in? Slow and deep, that's relaxed, that's calm, that's, aware, versus shallow and maybe even holding my breath. If you think about a time recently, or maybe in the past, if you haven't been anxious at all recently, or stressed or overwhelmed, but a stressed, overwhelmed, anxious breathing pattern is shallow and quick, or it's even like holding in like very low amounts of air compared to where our full capacity is. So that's how you can control your state. As we take a slower, deeper breath, you're telling your vagus nerve that you're calm and relaxed, even if you don't mentally feel that way. You're consciously shifting it. So as you consciously take control of your breath, the vagus nerve follows suit and it turns off cortisol, adrenaline, and then you can breathe. You can breathe, but then you can also start to think more clearly, and you have that gift of the gap between when a stimulus comes in and how you respond to it. And you're not going to just reflexively do things that might not be for your best. Okay, so I hope you're all on board with the science and you're convinced that maybe this breathing actually is going to be useful for you. Now we get to actually do it. So I'm going to suggest that you try breathing like this, just 2 minutes a day, every day for a week. So that's the kicker. We're going to make it short, just 2 minutes, tiny habit. But we would like it to be every day. So you're going to stack it on a habit, like right when I wake up, my alarm goes off, I shut it off and I do my breathing then. Or when I'm drinking my coffee, as the coffee brews, that's when I'm going to sit and do my breathing. Or right before bed, going to do my breathing. Go to bed every night, even if it's super late or super early. So just stack this 2 minutes somewhere in your day that you can do it every day for at least 7 days. And then you're going to find that you're going to be doing the breathing while you're driving, while you're waiting for a meeting, maybe after a meeting, maybe before an important conversation or before you eat. All right, so that's how this is going to spread and change your life. Okay, now we're really ready to practice. So there's two components to think about. One is the path of the breath, and two is the length. So I'm going to share with you the optimal length that was pointed out in the book, which I so adore, but it goes back to Gregorian chants and other songs and hymns and things from all different cultures. They all came to consensus. 5.5 second inhale and a 5.5 second exhale is optimum for everyday wellness and vitality. So eventually you're going to shoot for that. And if you think about it, that's like 5 or 6 breaths a minute. If you think about how you breathe currently, it might be quite different than that. But over time, you can get to that place where 5 or 6 breaths every minute when you're in a normal state, or when you're trying to reach a normal state. But worry about the time later. You can always add the counting after you've got the physical sensation down. Get the muscle memory in your body first. So 3-part breath, you guessed it. There's going to be this abdominal portion. So we're going to keep a hand here. There's a rib cage that goes here. The diaphragm, when you breathe, it contracts the diaphragm and that pushes then out your abdomen. So your belly will go, it will extend. So that's how you know if you're pulling air into the lowest parts of your lungs, which we're trying to do. So that's the first part. The belly will extend. The second part is then you feel your mid lungs, which is the thoracic cavity, and that's going to be your rib cage. And they'll usually expand a little bit outward, but also to the side. So you will look for the belly to extend out, and then this to fill and extend to the side. And lastly, the clavicle, your collarbones, that will rise a little bit at the end. That's the third part. When you exhale, you're going to do the reverse. Simple, easy peasy. Let the clavicles fall, the ribs sink in, and the belly go inward. And you can use a little bit of abdominal muscle to push air out. All right, so it's not that complicated. Just imagine filling a glass from the bottom up and then emptying the glass from the top down. We're going to use our hands to start. I'm going to maybe do some other things with my hands, but you can just hold a hand there, abdomen just above your belly button, underneath your ribs, and then on the chest. Okay, so let's begin by just exhaling all the air that is in your lungs. breathing in and out through the nose is also ideal unless it's clogged. So practice breathing in and out through the nose. You might need to blow your nose beforehand. Pro tip. Okay, so as you start to breathe, we're going to start on this exhale, just push all the air out. And then inhale, let the belly expand out. Feel the ribs come to the side. Feel the clavicles rise. And then exhale, clavicles fall. Ribs in, belly in. Inhale, belly extends gently out. Ribs extend, clavicles rise. Exhale, clavicles fall. Ribs in, belly in. Inhale, belly extends. Ribs extend, clavicles rise. Exhale, clavicles fall. Ribs in, belly in. Inhale, belly out. Ribs expand. Clavicles rise. Exhale, clavicles fall. Ribs in, belly in. Just keep breathing like that. Your eyes might be closed. Really feel the path of that breath for a few more breaths. And just notice how you feel. What is your state like? Might be a subtle shift, might be a big change. Maybe you didn't notice the change at all. This is all going to come. So as you practice for just 2 minutes a day, notice how you feel before and after, and then encourage yourself to do it throughout the day. The goal is to be breathing like this throughout the day normally. And then you're going to work on the 5 to 6 second inhale and exhale after you've got this pattern down. All right. Thank you for paying some time here with me today. That is just an investment in your health and wellness, and it's better for everybody around you as well. So enjoy. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or conversation or discussion. I probably have links to this type of information on my LinkedIn and in the YouTubes. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy the process.